Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can control your career if you allow them to. The biggest defining moment came in 2018 after I got laid off.
What are the most common barriers that keep mid career professionals feeling stagnant?
Now,
Correct.
people don't want to leave that comfort, then it is not possible to grow. The time and the money that you do not have, if you invest in yourself, will create the time and money that you want. Create something which can actually last beyond you. So I don't have the skill. I call it as developing the soft power. The soft power can only be developed when you develop the power skill. 5 years back, I was like this. They are fighting the battles, but they are fighting the battles in the solo way. Increase your market value by 3x. They do not come out with the bigger vision for themselves. I have already got so many years of experience. Why can't I figure out? Inherit the mess. जो कचरा पड़ा हुआ है, you need to clean up. Which technology should I pursue? Are you being relevant in the market? Let's wait for the appraisal to make things happen. The people are running the autopilot career, are playing many roles, many hats in their lives. Slow poison called the stagnancy. As the age grows and the salary grows, they also have the fear of failure. If you want a 3x, you need to solve the problem which is worth of 3x. We are no longer bound by the limit of the geographies anymore. You have to work on your 6 elements, that is the 6 dimension of the growth. Build your personal brand equity. The world is actually moving towards your pocket. So it is called the crap culture.
What are the most effective strategies to build that 10x influence?
If you are looking for a 1 CR salary in the India, being in the hustle doesn't mean that you're growing. How do they align themselves with the organization vision? For 18 years, I was always thinking that it is the intelligence which takes people ahead.
अंबानी जी अगर ये सुन रहे होंगे ना,
My mission is to empower 1 million mid-career pros to actually live the financial abundant and the holistic growth life to reach to the top paying executive position.
rapid fire round to get to know you on a personal level.
The biggest purpose in this life is making a difference in somebody's life. People can actually take you for granted. It doesn't matter where you came from. Where you want to go is a matter of choice.
Where can our listeners find you? Learn more about the Risers Club and potentially book a session to fast track their journey to executive leadership.
You alone cannot actually find those blind spots.
No attitude, only gratitude.
Knowledge is free. Yes, knowledge is free. But which knowledge is free? Unstructured knowledge is free.
Yeah.
How you can grow your career step by step in a proven framework that has helped almost 45,000 leaders across the world today. If you want to probably take complete charge of your career and rise, you know the things, you do the things, and you show the things. You always tend to get into the zone where the things are moving in the autopilot mode. Why to actually bother? I am into the transformation, not in the information, because information coaches are available free.
Welcome back to Trust Your Journey 1.0. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce our guest, our esteemed guest, Mr. Rakesh Rana ji, global mid-career mentor and founder of the Risers Club. He helps aspiring mid-level professionals fast-track into top-paying leadership roles by multiplying their influence and impact. If you have ever felt stuck in the middle of your career ladder, craving a bigger seat at the table, this episode is for you. So, this podcast is divided in 3 sections. First question to you, Rakesh ji. You have dedicated your career to empowering mid-level professionals. Let's start broad. Okay, what are the most common barriers that keep mid-career professionals feeling stagnant, and how can they begin breaking through these barriers?
First of all, thank you very much, Avinash, for calling me as a guest in this podcast. I'm sure this is going to actually reach to millions of people and impacting their lives as well. And as we were talking about that, the people who want to actually grow and get into the, I would say, the table, sit at the table, that is where the stagnancy or the slow poison comes into picture. One of the biggest challenge a mid-career professional probably find it, which is not recognizable in their career, is the slow poison called the stagnancy. Now, this stagnancy doesn't come in front of you every time, every day, in every conversation. What happens is stagnancy only hit you when you are probably getting into the realization where you say that I'm not growing when the others are growing. When you get into the comparison aspect of it, or you get into the comparison with yourself that 5 years back I was like this, I was going well, I was getting so much of salary, and suddenly everything has stopped. What happened? Okay. And that is the first aspect, which is the stagnancy aspect. The second, a bigger challenge that we face at the broad level is a lot of people in the mid level, especially when they are having a family, children, parents to take care of, and definitely the bigger role in the managerial role, leadership role, and so on and so forth. They get stuck into many, I would say, playing many roles, many hats in their lives. Okay, sometimes they have to play a role of a husband, parents, then the child, then manager, then suddenly the substitute of somebody, then the client relationship management, and so on and so forth. Now, when they are playing all these things, what they miss out is they do not come out with the bigger vision for themselves. So they are just running the race in the flow of a time, that okay, the time is passing day after day, month after month, year after year, let's wait for the appraisal to make things happen. That's a second aspect of it. The third is because this has actually made them the isolated person. That means they are fighting the battles, but they are fighting the battles in the solo way. So they don't build a network that is required for them to actually reach to that level. Now, everybody requires the different people in their lives to help them grow up, right?
Correct.
Unfortunately, that doesn't come naturally to the mid-level professionals because they have come to a stage where they also have the a kind of a mindset saying that okay, I have already got so many years of experience. Why can't I figure out, right? So
Yeah.
that is the kind of aspect that they came into. Okay, uh, through uh, through many coaching sessions that I have been through, there are a couple of more things which I would like to add into this and which are now becoming the real issues. One is the skill obsolescence. Now, just 3 years back, when the AI was not there in our lives on a regular day-to-day basis, everybody was going like, okay, I have everything available to probably grow in my career.
Yeah.
Correct. But ever since AI has come since 2022, we all are now on our edge of the seat, understanding, trying to figure it out how the AI is evolving and how AI is going to impact in our life as well as in our career.
Yeah.
So now is the highest, I would say, the it's a very high time for all the mid-career professional that they will also feel skill obsolescence currently while we are sitting here and recording the podcast for this, right? They will feel the skill obsolescence. Oh, I don't have the skill. Now, this sudden realization has happened because of the comfort that they got into or the complacency that they got into, that automatic growth will happen. So most of the people are running the autopilot career. Autopilot career is when you are just coming, going, working, waiting for appraisal, and the things will work out over a period of time with you probably sincerely and hardworking people, then it will work out. Now this era is gone because sincerity and hard work are overrated for the growth that they are looking for. Sincerity and hard work are the hygiene factor which are by default required as a fundamental values, right? But if we overrate them, then we actually face the complacency often. Okay. And the last I believe that which has probably stopped them is the mindset. Now, this is, I would say, the underrated aspect of the entire stagnancy.
Yeah.
When I say the mindset is not just about that they don't want to have a growth. They start doubting themselves as the age passes, the skills are obsolete. There is a limited network. All these things are impacting their different aspect of the career. Moreover, as the age grows and the salary grows, they also have the fear of failure because there are insecurities which are sets in that. Okay. And last but not the least, sometimes we are doing a fake it till you make it. Okay.
Yeah.
So most of the mid-career professionals are in that category where they are faking it till they're making it. So there is a very likelihood that they will be a victim of the imposter syndrome, where they feel like, okay, I'm doing it, but do I really deserve it? Am I really capable of it? And so on and so forth. So they continue to self-doubt themselves or getting into the victim mode again and again. Now, it is true for the people whose career is not growing on a steady way. It may not be true for the people who is, let's say, I am IIT graduate and probably everybody is appreciating his work and his career graph is very steep. That may not be the case, but majority of the people, if I have to just minus this people who are the elite IIT IIM grads, right, rest of the people have to go through the normal curve that we always do about,
Correct.
right, in the career. So that is where the real challenges lies. It was an elaborative, but I believe that will give the audience the right pulse of the podcast, as well as the also the mid career.
Thank you so much, Rakesh ji, for answering this particular question, because this is the first stepping stone as well, the overcoming the barriers, right?
True.
Like, what are the barriers? If we don't know the barriers itself, what will we actually be overcoming, right?
True.
So finding out those barriers is important, and you have laid down the list of those barriers. I'll show that in the recording, like what
Sure.
all you have mentioned, like it's the slow poison, it's a comparison trap, playing many roles, bigger vision nahi hai, right? There's so many things. Time is passing. They are fighting their own life's battles. Skill obsolescence is there. Life is running on autopilot. So all those points actually resonated with me as well, because this was happening with me as well. And I can I'm sure this would resonate with our audience too. So this leads to my second question, Rakesh ji. You actually emphasize achieving a 3x market value. That's actually intriguing, for some. It might sound, but can you break down what 3x market value means and give us some first steps for a mid-career leader aiming to multiply their worth in the job market, which is the current digital world?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for asking. This is the most I would say the most anticipated questions to me, especially when I actually always ask that it is possible for you to increase your market value by 3x. Now, most of the people have a myth about the market value. The market valuation generally is being associated with the startups who are getting the funding and so on and so forth, right? But in the career as well, there is always a possibility where you need to understand what is your market value in the current scenario. Okay. Now, given your experience, knowledge, skill, and talent, you have a certain amount associated with you, what industry perceive as your market value. Okay. Now, in order to increase that market value, it is possible that you can actually use the certain steps. So I'll just lay down certain steps first, and then I'll tell you how you can actually increase that. Okay. So in my firm belief, I believe that all the people can generally 3x their market value within the 10 years time. Okay. Typical career graph, if we look at it, from one salary to, let's say, a 2x salary takes around 6 to 8 years in a typical mid career level. Okay. So somebody earning some 20 lakh rupees, he needs to go to the 40 lakh rupees. It would take around 6 to 8 years, depending upon what actions he or she takes. Okay. Now, if I need to probably increase that at a double the speed, then what do I need? So these are the steps that you all need. First and foremost is the understanding of your own current market value, because that is awareness. Self awareness itself is the first step, like you mentioned, right? Awareness of the problem. So unfortunately, there are a lot of blind spot around that. Okay. People do not know what their current market value is. So understanding their current market value based on what the industry perceive, and that is available in the salary benchmarks available in the website, or you do the survey of the ex employees and so on and so forth, right? Depending upon your industry domain function and experience part of it. The second aspect that you can actually do it is to develop the high demand skills. Now, high demand skills are not something which is simply your techno functional skills. The techno functional skill is limited to the technology or the functional aspect of it. So, if I'm a sales guy, I would be increasing my sales skill. But to what extent sales skill can me increase? You know, the sales process is very simple, right from the cold calling to the closing, if I have to summarize the sales process, right? Now, what is that actually I can develop more in the sales? Then comes to the technology part of it. So, okay, if I'm a guy who is also using the technology, which technology should I pursue? Because the technologies are changing every day in, day out. Now, are you being relevant in the market? That's a question. So developing this high demand skill will require you to not only look at the techno functional skill, I call it as developing the soft power. The soft power can only be developed when you develop the power skill.
Wow.
And the power skills are something which is actually reinforcing your techno functional skill, because it is not that you don't need a techno functional skill, it is required. Again, it's a hygiene factor because it creates your existence in the industry itself. Okay. But beyond existence, if you need to actually reach to a certain height in your career, then you need a reinforcement. And that reinforcement comes through the power skill. Now, power skill could be the leadership, people development, your stakeholder management, many skills that you can actually part it. Okay. Now, in the last 6 to 10 years, if you look at it, the market has changed drastically. Earlier, we used to just float around our CV on the job portals.
Yeah.
We used to get the jobs, right? If not now, 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, unemployment was there at that time also, and unemployment is there here also, correct?
Yeah.
So there is no change. It could be the percentage difference because of the population increase. You can see the percentage, the number is high, but the population has also increased. So people don't realize it, right?
Correct.
Now, third aspect which we have evolved as a people is the mid career, and a lot of mid career actually take it very lightly. It is to build your personal brand equity. Now, this is I would say it is the most essential aspect of your career building process today, because there is no way somebody who is actually looking to grow in that CXO position or executive position, they can reach to that without building that personal brand equity. Now, let me tell you why it is so critical. See, the earlier time we used to have the rapport with the people. There is a personal rapport with the boss, personal rapport with the, let's say my friend is working in XYZ office, so he can actually refer me and do it. The world has opened up. The social media is has probably given the world as open, right?
Yeah.
LinkedIn and all the professional platforms are opening up a lot of opportunities to network as well. It also shows that what is your professional brand available in the market today. Okay. That means you as an individual, what do you stand for? What do you actually value? What do you actually preach? And what do you follow? All these
Yeah.
people want to understand. And that is what your personal brand equity is all about. Now we are living in the golden era where it is possible for us to raise our voice in the social platform and let other people know that what you're worth of, which was
Yeah.
not possible earlier without the social media when the world was not so open. So that is the third aspect of it. Fourth aspect, which I always say, which is going to be the critical in the 3x market value. Currently, your salary is X, for example, right? That means you're solving the problem which is worth of X only. If you want a 3x, you need to solve the problem which is worth of 3x. So if you are looking for a 1 CR salary in the India, for example, then you need to solve the problem which is 10 times of it at least. So that you can actually easily ask people, okay, I'm solving your 10 CR problem. Why don't you give me the 1 CR in that compensation?
Correct.
So identifying that high impact problem is another key strategies that you can use to get the 3x market value. Okay. And last but not the least, as I mentioned, the world is actually moving towards your pocket. That is, you have everybody on your pocket, right? You
Yeah.
can reach out to anybody now in the mobile phone.
Correct.
At the same time, the distances between the people are increasing. So you don't get the birthday wishes today, by giving the call to people. You get the birthday wishes on the images,
Yeah.
yeah, smileys on your social media or on your mobile WhatsApp. Correct. Now, this is the reason you have an opportunity to probably become more human. That means you build a network very strategically to the right people in the corporate sector or within your industry, domain, and function. And that is where it changes the game for people, where your strategic networking can actually bring the people who matter to your career, take a notice of you through your personal brand equity. And while you can actually show your high demand skill as well as show the willingness to take up the high impact project, that is what is going to give you the edge
Yeah.
for you to reach to the 3x much more faster than what you can reach today. I hope it
Wow.
is making sense.
Wow. Like it's like it makes perfect sense. Why? Because it's a magical pyramid, which you've explained for success for anyone. It's not just for mid-career professionals. I think it would be for everyone. Like
True.
understanding your values first, then identifying which is the high impact values, and then exploring it further. So beautifully described, Rakesh ji. I'm blessed to actually record this podcast too, and like because it's like whatever you're saying, it I can totally resonate with that emotion, and this is the reason why we're recording this podcast. I would
Sure.
say. So this leads to my third question, because you mentioned that like it's all about identifying our values and everything, right? But influence is something which seems to be a key factor in advancing to executive roles. We all know that, right?
Absolutely.
What are the most effective strategies to build that 10x influence, which we talk about, and both inside the organization and externally, so people start seeing you as an executive material?
Absolutely. Sure. I think this will again boil down to a lot of things which I have mentioned, but it will be implemented in a different way.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll first take the inside of the organization. Okay. One of the first thing that one can actually look at it as how do they align themselves with the organization vision?
Yeah.
Because if you want to be an executive, the executives are the somebody who is actually executing the vision of the company. Correct.
Correct.
So, how do you align yourself with the vision of the company? That is the first aspect that you need to look at. That means you identify your vision, you identify a company's vision, which is already available to you, right? You just check what is the alignment with them. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the number one aspect. Number two aspect is you need to develop the skill to manage the people and collaborate with the people. Okay,
Yeah.
there is no way that all the people are manageable. There are some people who will be always needing the, I would say, sham dam than the bed. Let me put it this way, okay, in the Hindi, right?
Yeah.
So you will always need a different treatment of collaboration with every different person. I always say there are different ways of actually engagement with the people. One is simply telling somebody. Second is communicating somebody. Third is connecting somebody, and fourth is collaborating somebody.
Wow.
The collaborating is something which will take people towards that joint forces.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody is running in a race. And because corporate is a competitive environment, it calls as a meritocracy, right? Everybody will pull down each other. So it is called the crab culture, right? So in a way, we have created that crab culture, and we are all responsible for that as leaders. Okay.
Yeah.
And you are the only one, or the leaders are the only one who are responsible to probably change that culture as well. So it is starting with that collaborative efforts that we are looking at. Okay.
Yeah.
Number three is see, we come across a lot of conversation on a day to day basis. Out of those conversations, which are strategic conversation, that is one aspect that one can take care of, because most of the people are actually going in a flow. Okay, boss has asked me, let me give you. That's it. There's an email, so I need to reply. That is the way the people communicate, right? How do you actually make that communication strategically, which can actually show people your value, your contribution in that process, whatever is the process is. Okay.
Wow.
Last but not the least is what I always call it's the high impact project. Okay. To my executive leaders who I actually coach and mentor, I always call them that inherit the mess. जो कचरा पड़ा हुआ है, you need to clean up. If you clean up the kachra, then you will be valued, right? So if you are actually putting your hand into the messy project, you are going to be visible to the right people at the right time. Correct. So that is a internal aspect of it. The external aspect is relatively easy, but generally people don't do it.
Yeah.
So the external aspect, if I have to build my 10x influence, first I have to probably convince people. How do I influence them in their behavior, in their thoughts, in their decision? That is the basic elements of the influence. Okay. How do I influence their thoughts, belief, behavior, and the decision making? Now, if I have to do that, I have to show them that I have my own thought process. Correct. And that thought process is inclusive thought process which takes care of your issue, which is called the thought leadership. We call it as a thought leadership, right? So in a particular issue, particular industry, particular domain, function, whichever you are expert in, can you showcase that thought leadership for the people by publishing the article, hosting the webinar, participating in the podcast like you are hosting me today on the mid-career path,
Yeah.
right? So can you show that thought leadership? The second is there are multiple communities now available for us as a easy access or a free access, correct? Because we are no longer bound by the limit of the geographies anymore. So we have the availability or access to every other community which are relevant to us. So if I'm a coach, I should be in the coaching community. If you are in the sales, then you should be in the sales community. If you are in a supply chain, you should be in the supply chain community. So this community engagement gives you the influence because you are sharing your thought leadership there as well. Okay.
Yeah.
That is a second aspect of it. The third aspect is if you want to influence anybody in their behavior, in their decisions, in their thought process, you need to mentor them. There is no way you can actually build that rapport just by using only the social media post as a thought leadership. So you need to at some point of time to probably get into the conversation mode and engage in the mentoring process or a coaching process, whichever you are comfortable with, and use that to the right effect. That means to start mentoring and making an impact and give it back to the society. Because see, you have already got the tons of knowledge, skills, talent. Even with the person with the 5 years also, in the 10 years also, 15, 20, 30 years also, people have amount of knowledge is huge, and the amount of knowledge multiplied by their exposure, that means the what we call as a experience today, right? Now this experience is of value. It can be actually valued in the gold or it can be valued in the zero. Why? Depending upon how you use it. So if you use the experience to make a difference in somebody else's life, you called a great value of experience in the gold. If you use it for yourself, going from home to office, office to home, and hoping that the things will work out for you, that has zero value. Okay. Last but not the least, when you actually mentor people, obviously people will be impacted. Now, this is the impact that you need to use because the more impact that you make in the social world that we are living in, the more influence you will yield. Okay, that is the reason a lot of people who are actually influencers today, because they are dumping you with so much of content which your thought process start impacted by them. Because of that, that impact and the millions of followers now call them the influencers. Now, whether it is right, wrong, it is up to you to decide. But at the same time, you need to understand the moment you start making an impact in the world, you produce the testimony, you some people talk about you, you are building your image, you're building your aspect of what do you call uh, the influence which is creating a difference. That is
Yeah.
where your influence is growing. I hope this makes sense.
Uh, I would say it definitely made sense to me, and for sure for the audience too, because externally, see, internally within the organization, everybody knows everything. It's all about how we need to align, which you said, our vision with the organization goals. Everybody knows that. This is the basics of growing in any organization, right? You need to align your goals, then collaborate with people, which you mentioned. It's all about taking that mentorship as well along the journey. Then coming to that, the personal side as well, which you explained beautifully, that you should be a thought leader. Without that, it's you can't achieve anything, you can't create anything if you can't have that thinking process of actually leading from front, or trying to solve a bigger picture, which you can actually take a vision of. Second thing which you mentioned, there's so many communities out there which are there, beautifully explained. Take mentorship programs too, which you are running. Reach out to people like you who are actually giving that value to, and in the current world, and making that impact. That's what matters. And you have beautifully described, Rakeshji. And this would actually lead me to the next question, which is, you mentioned about creating an impact, right? Which is actually a growth mindset lifestyle thing. Yeah. Could you paint a picture of what a growth lifestyle, or like this kind of mindset looks like in practical terms? How do you integrate this mindset into daily routines and maintain that momentum towards leadership goals? Because it's difficult, right, to maintain this
Absolutely.
kind of a mindset on a daily basis. How
Yes.
how how we can do that?
So I always call it when you want to probably create a lifestyle of a growth, right? You have to work on your six elements. That is the six dimension of the growth. Okay, one is the mental aspect of it, which is you are developing your skill. Okay,
Yeah.
you are sharpening your edge. That is what is the mental aspect. That means you have to develop a certain level of skill set. That is the one aspect. Second is the emotional aspect of it. As the world is moving towards the AI, you need to keep your HI very sharp as well. So HI is more or less, even though we call it as an HI, it is more or less driven by the emotion. So how you actually sharpen your emotional intelligence, or EQ, which is currently is a short after skill. Okay, the last one is physically also. How do you grow? Your mind, body and soul needs to have a nurturing. Correct. So are you probably keeping yourself fit, healthy, energetic? That's one aspect. Are you probably feeding your mind, giving yourself some me time? Because everybody needs that me time. Just being in the hustle doesn't mean that you're growing. It is just going to burn you out over a later period of time, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
can you actually nurture your mind, then your soul, which I also cover in the spiritual aspect of it. So mental, emotional, physical. Now comes the social. Socially, each and everyone, we all humans are social creatures, but we have forgotten to do so. So now is the time for you to become a social creature where you network very strategically with the people, build a bond, build a communities, build the people around you, and who can actually give you that force of inspirations, motivation, and anything that you need in your life, as well as you make a difference in their lives as well. Okay. Then comes your spiritual, I would say. Okay. Now, spiritual, I would always say that one has to be true to themselves, their soul, their spirit. Correct. That means you should be following the path of your purpose, the way you are probably developing your vision into the bigger picture for yourself and your family members, and maybe the company around you or the people around you. So, how do you actually keep your soul aligned towards that purpose? That is what I believe is a spirituality. Okay, nothing to do with the religion or anything of that sort, but towards that bigger purpose. And last but not the least, I call it as a financial aspect of it, which is the sixth dimension of the growth. Now, if you really, really want to grow, your impact only grows when your financial might also goes.
Yeah.
You cannot just have an impact by being in the, I would say, being financially poor, right? Your impact will grow when you are financially becoming better and better. Your influence will also go when the people will see that what you are preaching is also being used by you to actually make an impact.
Yeah. Correct.
Because if you're not doing that, it is just a preaching or a
Correct.
gyan, which is plenty of available anyway, free of cost today, right? So when you are working on this sixth dimension, now comes the bigger aspect of it, with the execution of the sixth dimension. Knowing sixth dimension doesn't make you a better person.
Yeah.
That is where I come from, the 1% at a time. So I don't think that anybody can actually make a drastic change in some of these elements on a daily basis. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody can make the gradual changes over a period of time and may become a better person by the year end. So I always call it as a lifelong journey of learning rather than just becoming a kind of a, I would say, a one time wonder in the life,
Yeah.
because one time wonder doesn't sustain anyway, right? So if you want to really make a bigger impact, transform yourself inside out and live that growth lifestyle, you also need to understand, is my mind is also thinking about the growth?
Yeah.
Is my skills are also getting developed? Am I working on myself? That is my mindset, my skill set, my soul set, my actions. Is it actually resulting into the any financial reward for me over a period of time? And at the same time, I'm having the people who is helping me do that. So these are the six dimension of the growth, I believe, that is culminated into the, what do you call, as a habit, that is 1% at a time on a daily basis. If you work on this only sixth part also on a daily basis, I believe it will not require more than 30 minutes to 45 minutes if you're really keen on it. And if you can work for 30 to 45 minutes on yourself, I think the you'll be the much better person over a period of year or two, depending upon how much intensity you put into this.
Beautifully described, Rakesh ji. I think the sixth dimension which you mentioned, to connect our mind, body, and soul. Without achieving that, we cannot perform at our optimal well-being, I would say. And you have described it beautifully that without finances, how will you actually do anything, right? You cannot distribute wellness as well
True,
without finances, right?
true.
So 1% at a time, which you mentioned, because many people see no gyan, right? We say that no gyan, it's all actions which we want to communicate that execution is important. Everybody knows everything. Execution is the key towards achieving your dreams. And all those six dimensions which you mentioned, I think it's the journey which can transform everybody's life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it is common across. You cannot just need it only for the mid-career professional per se.
Yeah.
As a human, as a person, let's say you're a businessman, you're a podcaster, you're an influencer,
Yeah.
you're doing anything. Let's say you're a student. In that case, also it is applicable.
Correct.
You cannot just create something out of thin air. You have to be working on yourself on all the time. Unfortunately, that is not being taught in the education system, and it will never be taught by the corporate system to some extent. So we'll have to figure it out ourselves for sure.
So it's the self discovery cycle which everybody needs
100%.
to take.
Everybody needs to go through, unless they just feel that, okay, I don't need to.
Yeah.
In that case, it's a choice.
Correct.
Growth is always a choice.
Yeah.
Mindset, when we talk about the growth mindset and the growth lifestyle, it's based on choices. It cannot be based on the autopilot,
Yeah.
because growth requires you to make some choices of growth,
Correct.
and which will require some sacrifice as well, for sure. Like
Yeah.
sacrifice, the first sacrifice will come is about the comfort that you are in. Now,
Correct.
people don't want to leave that comfort, then it is not possible to grow. Correct?
Correct. And this leads to me actually, people don't want to leave their comfort zones, but they want. There are some leaders who are seeking to create legacies, right? Let's focus on those leaders too, because everybody wants to become a leader, right? Once they start taking actions, they will get the direction too. It's all about taking the actions. So for leaders who are seeking legacy, not just a title or a paycheck. How do you advise them to define their purpose and ensure their leadership actually leaves a meaningful, lasting impact on their teams, industries, communities, and the social background around them?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for this beautiful question, because this is the essence of the leadership that most of the people forget in the corporate world when they get the title, unfortunately. So, in my understanding, the what I have learned from my mentors, coaches, and even the books that I have read, I have understood leadership in only one sentence, which is inspiring, influencing people towards the change and the shared vision. Okay. If I decode this entire definition of the leadership, it gives every element of the leadership that you need.
Yeah,
That means inspiring the leaders, other people. If you need to inspire other people, you need to become that inspiration. You need to elevate your own self so that you can inspire people.
yeah,
If you want to influence yourself, you need to empower more number of people. That means you have to influence their decisions, their behavior, their thinking process. That means empowering more and more people, making an impact in their lives, making a difference in their lives. Okay. For that, it says that inspiring, influencing people towards change and shared vision. Shared vision is always beyond your material success. So I want to have a more salary for what? Because I want to buy a new car, a new house, or maybe take my family for a vacation and so on and so forth. That's everybody does it.
yeah,
A person who is earning 10,000 also does the same. The person who is earning 1 crore also does the same. Then what is the difference? What is the difference of that leadership essence that you got?
correct.
The only difference you can always do it is by expanding your vision to the level which is beyond your material success. That means it is now inclusive of the communities, the people who need yours kind of a knowledge, skills, and talent. That is where you will be probably seen as the leader. Okay. So now, will the people be able to follow you right away? The answer is no,
Yeah,
because it is a change. So now that is why the inspiring and influencing comes towards the change. Which is the change? Shared vision is a change. What is a shared vision? Which is much beyond than your material success. That means you are trying to create a new world for yourself and for others as well, where everybody prospers. You're just not looking at your own prosperity now. You're looking at everybody else's prosperity. You're just trying to make a difference in the lives of the people who are actually born in your era. Now, if you can actually do that, you are serving your purpose easily. You're serving your purpose easily. That means you don't need to seek your purpose. See, the biggest purpose in this life is making a difference in somebody's life. That
correct.
could be the biggest purpose. Now you do it through the business by having an idea of that business. You do it through coaching, mentoring, consulting. You do it through by creating a product or some sort, and so on and so forth, depending upon how do you want to solve that purpose. Correct. Now for that you need the inspiration and influence. Now inspiration and influence remain same. First, you have to lead by the example. That means you have to showcase your values to the people.
Yeah,
You create your own authentic self and probably show up that authentic self every day in, day out. Second is you building that social impact. That means you contribute to the initiatives. Like in my case, I have actually been bothered about the mid career because I have been through that cycle. I have been through that experiences of my own mid career journey, and I felt that the mid career professional need the help, and that is what I am trying to change. That how can I actually grow them and empower them so that they can achieve their holistic financial growth as well. Then comes if you have to probably become a change maker in any industry or in any world, you need to become a great storyteller. You have to tell the story and your story, not the fabricated story, because people connect with your energy and your story and not with the other. So you need to be a great storyteller for that. Okay. And last but not the least, if you really, really want to leave the legacy, create something which can actually last beyond you. Because there is no way your legacy will be remain. Your grandchildren will not even remember your names, honestly. So let's not probably fool ourselves that okay, my I'm doing everything for my family and my children. My children will take care of me, or children will remember me for what I'm doing. to hell no.
Yeah. Hard fact, but it has to be accepted.
Yeah, so I don't like to give any gyan as such. I like the practical things. I'm more of an a practical optimist guy. So I call always the optimistic pragmatist. I
Wow.
call myself. So I'm more pragmatic in nature rather than just being optimistic. Be hopeful, but associate with the action. Then both will work.
Wow. Wow. So, beautifully described that how to create a legacy, leadership, like personality in ourselves, and it's all about having a shared vision, which Rakesh ji mentioned, and it's all about taking the right actions in the right direction. Be the inspiration and lead with purpose. So great insights, Rakesh ji. You have seen, you have actually given us a strategic blueprint to move forward to everyone who is listening this. Now let's lighten things up with a rapid fire round to get to know you on a personal level too, because it's lots of serious talks we have done. Yeah. So we'll make it some fun as well. I'll ask some questions on a rapid fire, and I'll wait for your response, and then I'll shoot. I'll actually be. It will be a rapid. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Bring it on.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
So first question: one word to describe your mentoring style.
Challenger.
Challenger.
Always
Favorite
challenging.
book that shaped your leadership philosophy.
I would say start with why
Start with why.
by
That's a
Simon
beautiful
Sinek.
book, I would say.
Yeah,
And I'll share the link as well. People who are saying that we are talking shit, no, we'll share the links of the books. Books are there. You can go through those books. It's like it will change your
absolutely.
mindset for sure. It will shift something. What's your go-to mantra during tough times?
I always go back to my gratitude mode. So I always start counting my blessings, what I have achieved so far, and how did I achieve that? That's my go-to mantra for anything in the life or a career setbacks.
So stay like no attitude, only gratitude.
Absolutely.
Best piece of career advice you have ever received.
Uh, I have received this advice that which I resonate the most. Okay, the time and the money that you do not have, if you invest in yourself, will create the time and money that you want.
Wow. Wow.
So if you can actually put in all the time and money that you feel you don't have right now, if you can put in yourself, because you being the best asset of your life, right? Then you will be able to create the time and money that you want.
Wow. It's all about taking care of your time.
Yeah, it's all about
Money will come across that.
investing the time towards the best asset which can generate the exponential result. There is no asset that I know of which can generate more exponential result than you.
Wow. Wow. So a leadership trait that you admire most in others. Like what admires what influence you
This was the
actually.
question when I was just 21 years old. My boss had asked me in the interview. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And based on this question, he had selected me. I was a trainee. I had
Wow.
no exposure to any of the department. And he asked me, "So what is that one thing that you would look up to a partner that you want to marry?" And I told him that the transparency. Okay. A leader who are very transparent and authentic, they always score well in their life, regardless of what reward they get right now they may not be rewarded high, but in the longer run they are the most respected people you will ever find in your life, and you will remember them regardless of whether they have done something to you or not done something to you. So I believe that authenticity is the trait that I would always admire in the leader.
So it's the authenticity, and authenticity comes only with transparency, which
Absolutely.
you mentioned.
Yes.
Great, great, awesome. So, if you could meet any business leader, who would it be?
I would definitely would like to meet Mukesh Ambani in
Wow.
my life. It has been in my vision as well. So I would love to meet him and understand how does he probably manages the things that he is managing today.
God knows and he knows.
Something which I admire about him is to have a multiple hats that he has to wear,
Yeah.
multiple businesses. It's a huge diversification. So it's a commendable skills that he must be carrying right.
Yeah. So great, अंबानी जी अगर ये सुन रहे होंगे ना तो आई एम श्योर ही वुड कभी सुनेंगे भी इस पॉडकास्ट को सो आई वुड डेफिनेटली मेंशन समथिंग अबाउट अंबानीज in this podcast because they've inspired generations, I would say.
Absolutely
It's not about us, it's about millions.
true.
People look up to them,
Yes,
like how to distribute wellness as well while becoming rich.
true.
So this leads to me to my another question. Your favorite way to recharge after a long work day? I'm sure you must have been into multiple
People
tasks.
will not like me because I don't preach even, right? But still, I always say that breaking a pattern and unwinding yourself is a part of the process. Okay? And I do it by watching something which I love, which are the thrillers. Okay. So I love watching the thrillers, especially the political dramas and etc. etc. So I unwind myself by watching those things because it gives me the a break from my normal thinking and the routine that I'm in engrossed in. But at the same time, it also makes me gives me a lot of lessons. So I learn a lot of things from the Bollywood movies, which people admire me in my coaching sessions generally because I give a lot of example of the Bollywood movies rather than the anything else. The reason for that is it is just to resonate with them as well because they are already on that path, right? So they know. So I always unwind myself by watching something which can give me that I would say break from my current routine, but at the same time keep me interested in that. It could be a mindless comedy also. I would find the things to learn from that. I always look at the things from the perspective of learning, even though am going for the entertainment.
So it's all about unwinding
Yes,
yourself.
absolutely.
Take
I
that
watch a
break.
lot of movies, and I'm a movie buff for that matter.
Wow. So I'm a Bollywood fan too. So I won't deny that. So this actually leads to me to my another question because lots of professionals watch that stuff, right? Movies, right? Most underrated skill which mid-career professionals should develop because we learn from movies as well, right?
So I would say from the movies, may not be, but if you really look at the movies from the villain's perspective,
Yeah,
okay, villains are the most connected people, the
yeah,
most networked people. If you look at that movie, in every movie,
correct.
there is a hero, there is a villain. The hero is the victim, and the hero is somebody who is not connected. The villains are the most connected. If you really want to learn from the movie how to remain connected, you don't need to become a villain for that.
In real
How do
life,
you
yeah.
remain connected and network? So how do you network with the people where you don't need to worry about things? Now it could be through money or a power. And the third element which is available to each one of us today is an influence. So you need not have a money, you need not have a power of a politics or anything, right? But
Yeah.
you can have an influence of your own intellect that is available now.
Another question which I want to ask from you because if you weren't mentoring, what would you be doing currently?
That's a very interesting question. Uh, I would have been a teacher by
Teacher.
all means. I was in a corporate sector. If I would have continued with the corporate sector, obviously I would be in the corporate sector, right? But otherwise, if I had to choose any other profession apart from the coaching and mentoring, let me tell you, I got inspired to coach and mentor because of my teaching experience being a child.
Mm,
So over the last, I mean, first 12 years of my schooling, I was mentoring, coaching, teaching people in their own subjects, my friends, colleagues, and all the siblings as well. So that has inspired me to probably recognize and discover my own skill that, yeah, it is possible for you to actually teach, coach, and mentor people to make them better. So I would be always a teacher in that case.
And teaching actually led you towards your calling to what you're doing currently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because see, the calling always comes from the people either paying or the other people paying. There is no
Yeah,
other calling.
yeah,
People don't do the calling for the pleasures.
correct.
Yeah? So the calling always comes either your pain or somebody else's pain. In my case, it was my pain plus the other people pain. My pain was always there. But how do I solve the other people pain? That has led me to what I'm doing today.
So, does city that inspires, like, does cities play in any role? Like, a person belongs to another city or professionally?
I would
What do you
say,
think? Which city inspires you professionally? I would ask this question.
I would always say that, see, I come from a tier two towns. I come from the Surat. At that point of time, Surat was not so known. Okay, it was rather notorious for the things which were happening because 92 riots or the plague or the anything that you can call, you associate Surat with it, right? Now,
Correct.
I come from that town. Now, I realized one thing. Till the 10 years back, I would have said that city would have played a very major role because you see the different infrastructure, different facility, different exposure to the world as well. After 10 years back, if I have to look at it, okay, let me put it this way. 2015 onwards, if I have to look at the things, I don't think there will be any difference in the lives of people if they are really, really willing to expose themselves to the world. So today, I believe that there are people available in your city who are exporting the things outside India,
Yeah.
correct?
Correct.
How? I mean, city doesn't matter, and they are not speaking English.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct? So it doesn't matter the city, I would say, but if I have to ask the which city inspires me the most, definitely in India, it would be always Mumbai.
Mumbai.
Yes,
And you're based out in Mumbai only?
yes, I'm based out of because I
Okay.
love the speed and I feel that there is a vibrant energy in this city which is always running, which is
Yeah.
speed, the speed with which this city runs. That's what excites me actually about this city.
So I'm sure in a crowded city like this, there would be some conflicts as well, right? So quick tip to handle workplace conflicts.
Conflicts, if you really, really want to handle the conflicts for any count, okay, you need to start with, I would say, take your view to at least 30,000 feet up. Okay, that's the first aspect that you need to do in any conflict. Okay,
Yeah.
and ask yourself, will this conflict matter in the broader things that we are looking at? If no, you will find a solution to resolve the conflict. If yes, then you will not find the solution to resolve the conflict. Then it's a matter of principles
Yeah.
that you want to probably go with this or you want to go with this. But if it is actually taking everybody towards the same vision that we are aspiring for, I believe the conflicts are easily resolvable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think communication is the best channel for that.
100%. Opening up the communication, in fact, dropping your ego would be the first way to do it.
So beautifully described. It's all about leading, which we talked about having the shared vision. People should have
Absolutely.
that shared vision, and conflicts will
Yes.
get automatically
That
resolved.
is why the leadership.
So one word that describes executive presence, because we talk about executive leadership, right? A lot in our sessions. So what exactly would that one word would fit into that executive leadership?
Charisma. Charisma is what I would associate
Charisma.
with the executive presence. Reason being, the person with the executive presence is always ooze out the charisma, where even without the person speaking the word, people will respect them.
Correct. Correct. So charisma is the one thing. which creates your vibe. I think
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
all
Anywhere
about
with
creating
them,
your aura.
you will always find it. Okay, I can actually reach out to that person. He is approachable. I can
Yeah,
speak my heart out and so on and so forth. That charisma needs to be there for the person.
great. And one thing you wish you knew earlier in your career. You've gone through a lot, I'm sure, but I'm sure
I am
one
late by
thing.
18 years in my life for understanding that one thing. I didn't realize that there is something called the mindset, which actually makes the difference in the lives of people.
Yeah,
And I'll be very honest on the public platform wherever you are sharing this podcast as well. Uh, for 18 years, I was always thinking that it is the intelligence which takes people ahead.
yeah,
Uh, because I come from that background, having walked my life through by applying all the hard work, sincerity, and intelligence in my life to reach to a place where I wanted to reach to a certain extent. But when I failed and fall, that's when I realized it is something to do with the mindset more than the only this aspect. See, there are strategies, there are skills, there is influence, there is persona. But if the person without the mindset is there, they will always find themselves victim.
yeah.
Always believe because 18 years in my corporate life, I have actually worked on my skills and the intelligence. I started working on my mindset only after the 18 years when I fell. Okay. And I would always say this, it doesn't matter where you came from. Where you want to go is a matter of choice. So, and it all depends on your mindset. There's nothing that can actually take you anywhere.
Beautifully summarized that it's all about mindset, because mindset defines everything. There's no second thought about it. Once you create those patterns in your mind, that then only things will shape up. Otherwise it won't, because you need to get into that rhythm, right? It's like जब body अपने को बनानी होती है, right? So 3 महीने तो लगते ही है ना. It takes 3 months time at least, right, to transform your body too. So mind is also like that. It's a muscle. So beautifully described. So in a hectic schedule like yours, right? What's your favorite stress busting activity which you do? I'm sure stress तो होता है, सबको होता है.
We would never deny that there is no stress in anybody's life. Okay. I always feel like me and my wife have a conversation that today's children at the younger generation is so in so much of stress than us, right? And it is not a performance stress. It is the expectation stress that they are going through. Okay? So in my case, my favorite pastime is sleeping. Even though everybody believes, not believe, doesn't matter to me. I love sleeping. I always unwind by sleeping more and more. So I always want to actually get out of the stress. If I am having too much on my plate right now, I would rather not do anything and sleep. Because I know for sure that whatever is there on my plate right now, it is becoming overwhelming because I'm not having that right thinking or clarity of thinking. That will only come when I just calm down myself, come to a stage where I can think clearly and then probably tackle each and every challenge that is available right now.
So there are three things I think which everybody can do to actually avoid that stress. One thing which you mentioned, sleep, right? Second
Absolutely.
is exercise.
Yes.
Do exercise, because do jumping, whatever you want to do, but do some kind of a workout.
Yes.
Start running, like
Oh,
anything. You will actually gain that momentum.
oh,
Third is third is stop thinking, start taking actions.
yes.
Nothing can resolve that stress.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you can always take an action if
Yeah.
you are not overwhelmed. If you are overwhelmed, there are many chances that you are only going to pile up the things.
So you'll circle it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Sojo.
always go back to action after getting my sleep well,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
So I get myself relieved from the stress for the time being. Stress is not going to go away for sure. Okay. Tomorrow also there will be things to be done. So there is not a single day for anybody's life that they feel like आज का काम हो गया means कल कुछ नहीं है. There's nothing called that aspect. Okay. Tomorrow also you're going to work, tomorrow also you're going to do the things. Then why to take so much of stress? And if the things pile up, it would pile up in anybody's case as well. So chill, relax, take some time. Sometimes it is impossible for you to catch up with everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So life is a journey, I would say, and you have described it beautifully. It takes time, but build those habits. Mindset is something which you need to achieve. So a person like you, for a person like you, what you would say that if you could sum up your mission in one phrase, what it would be? One phrase.
I would always say this, my mission is to empower 1 million mid-career pros to actually live the financial abundant and the holistic growth life to reach to the top paying executive positions. I truly believe that we all are on the verge of creating the history for India. Right now is the time for you to contribute to the rising India. And that is only possible when you take control of your career, start working towards and rise towards that.
So that was actually fun, Rakesh ji, playing this rapid fire round. I would end this section here itself. And thanks for playing along. It was fun to interact with you. For people like you, it's something getting to know you better, how to become a leader. Yeah, from a personal front too, right? About what kind of person you are. Now, let's go deeper into your personal journey, the challenges which you overcame, the pivotal moments, and the lessons that actually shaped you into the mentor which you are today. Rakesh ji, let's rewind. Before you were guiding others, you must have faced your own career obstacles, I'm sure about it. Can you share a defining moment in your mid career phase where you felt that stuck and how you turned that into that breakthrough which you have achieved right now?
Definitely. I think in my all entire year, 18 years of journey, I think there are two defining moments. Okay. The first defining moments came in 2013-14 when I was put in the project and the project was successful. My colleague was there and I was put in the PIP in the corporate sector. Those who are in the corporate, they would actually understand it's a performance improvement plan. And I was actually shocked that yes, somebody has taken the credit of the success while I was actually put into the other part of it, which is the first element that I realized that people can actually take you for granted. People can play with your life and career both. That's the first aspect of it. Now, at that point of time, I was put in the different project after that completion. And I was working with some of the MDs and the senior leadership in the other part of this organization. And that is when I realized the value of the networking and the influence because I reached out to my MD wrote to HR, and my PIP was cancelled. I was never been to a PIP as such, but that was the first experience that I got that it is possible to influence decisions of the people if you have the right network with you. That's number one. Number two is when I was laid off in 2018 with the 17 plus years of experience, 6 plus years in the same organization, and there were business compulsions which led me to my layoff, and I didn't realize that I could be the victim on that part. Okay? Because I was probably leading the project, that project shut down, and then ultimately I had to be a part of that layoff process. But that actually made me aware that see. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can control your career if you allow them to. Okay. If you don't take charge of your career, everybody will play with it. So it is important and essential for you to take complete charge of your career. Till that point of time, I was always relying on, okay, boss will take care of me, company will take care of me, the people will be taking care of me. That's not the case. So the biggest defining moment came in 2018 after I got laid off. When I realized that it is the time for you to completely take charge of your career and rise. Because, see, you can rise by both ways. Either people help you to rise by crawling, walking, whichever way that you want to rise after a certain period of time, or you take complete charge and probably rise in your own way, in your own journey, in your own path, and in your own ways. That is what I call the real freedom, because that's when the freedom comes, when you are not dependent on somebody else's to define your destiny.
Yeah.
You are defining one. So that is what my defining moments are.
And definitely, your journey is something. See, I wasn't get a like I can resonate because I've seen this kind of like around me, right? Because I've gone through. I was lucky enough to have not faced this kind of a situation, but when I hear such stories, मेरे रोंगटे खड़े हो जाता है. I actually get goosebumps because there are lots of responsibilities which we take off, right?
Yep.
And as men's, as Indian men's, it's difficult to understand the mindset which the other person gets into. It can lead to many things, but you have turned it around, and I'm sure the Risers Club, which you mentioned, is because of that only, because
Absolutely.
you have taken the charge. Beautifully described. Now, I'm sure every mentor's path, like yours, is shaped by both wins and setbacks. What was one of the toughest challenges you have encountered in building your brand as a global mentor, because now you have got a brand of yours, and how did that experience refine your approach towards looking your life?
See, a few things which has actually played out for me. I would call it in my career journey now as a coach and a mentor, right? 2018, when I got laid off, I actually planted a seed that I want to do something which doesn't allow people to actually go through the same pain that I have gone through. That was the one initiation, a backstory, I would say, with which I started with. Okay. So my full intention was to probably tell them what mistakes that you should not do. Okay. Because see, you fail by making certain mistakes, so you need to correct it in the process of it. So I wanted to make sure that these mistakes which I have made, probably you should not make it, so that you don't fall into the same trap that I was in. That is the one aspect of it. But when I say there were defining moment in my career, in my journey as a coach, I would say this. When I started off in 2018-19, I was just starting with a very simple aspect of, okay, let me probably save the uh, help a few people to not go through this journey. Maybe I'll just help some people to get the good job, negotiate, because I was a negotiator for all my life. So I know the negotiation at the back of my hand. So let me probably give that skill and probably grow it. I never realized that the journey which I started off will have a bigger impact in the lives of the people. Okay, at that point of time. So I needed to go back into myself. I needed to actually redefine that journey, whether it is a journey that you're doing it as a business, as a transaction, as a some sort of dealing, is it some sort of just exchange of the value? What is that you're doing, right, Kish? I didn't realize it until I discovered my own values. So my values comes from my own leadership growth and the family as a value. And I realized that whatever I'm teaching is resonating with this. So I'm always promoting the growth. I'm always promoting the leadership. I'm always promoting the family. And then I was just trying to tie back all this, my values, into the mission statement. Because until then, I was always saying the mission, but I was not, I would say, making it my own. Now, if you ask me that whether this is own, I would say I have already dedicated my life, regardless of what I do today. Even if my business fails, I would again be the back in this game, okay, and doing the same thing by impacting the lives, okay. And the reason for that is redefining your mission, the bigger mission that you are on, which is much beyond your personal gain, which is much beyond your business dealing, which is much beyond the transaction you get into, which is much beyond the only one or two people joining you, or the how many lives that you do.
Correct.
And that mission became the impact. How much impact that you want to make in the person's life. So you can make the impact in various ways. If there is a health coach who will be helping you in the health, There's a career coach who will be helping in the career coach. I don't call myself as a mid-career coach or so. I always say that I am always helping people to reach to the higher level. I always say that I am into the transformation, not in the information, because information coaches are available free.
Yeah.
You don't need anybody to teach you how to actually make your CV or a cover letter. Why? Because it is available free of cost, right? Transformation requires some steps. Transformation requires structure. Transformation requires support system. This is where I needed to be. And realizing that took a couple of years. Obviously, a lot of failures, success, and so on and so forth. But now that when I realized this that my journey is more or less becoming the impact of transformation, where I ask people take from their average journey, ask them to rise with me, helping them to rise, empowering them to rise, and take it to the best version of themselves. That's when the things are falling in place. It's aligning with me, my mind, my heart, and everything is being aligned to that mission factor.
So I'm sure your setbacks have made you the person you are today, and you will evolve with time. The kind of a person you are, the vibe which you're giving to me as well. I'm sure to the audience as well that you're gonna reach to heights. I would say, and you're living in Mumbai too, so you're
I
gonna
will
reach
take
that.
people to the heights, for
Yeah.
sure.
And you're a kingmaker in the you are in the kingmaker category, and definitely now looking back on all these things, what are the core lessons you have learned on your journey that our listeners, many of whom are navigating similar career transitions, layoffs and all, right, movements हो जाते हैं, IJPs हो जाती है, internal job postings हो जाती है, PIPs मिल जाता है, which you mentioned, how they can actually navigate through all these career transitions, and how can they apply to accelerate their own growth too, because you are also coaching on that, right, how they can apply all those things. So how you can the biggest lessons which you can share.
Mm. So the first aspect is to stand out in a crowd. Uh, there is an information overload in the world that we are living in. There is always going to be more information available in the future as well. So you are not getting differentiated in the world by having more information. That power is gone. Earlier, it used to be a power that, okay, information is a power, correct? Now the power lies in the influence building. Okay. Power lies in the making sure that people see you differently. So, what differentiating factors that you can actually find out for yourself, which can actually stand you out in the competition? Okay. So, it could be your value system, it could be your personality, it could be what strength that you carry, it could be the skills that you carry, it could be also the vision that you carry, depending upon how you want to articulate that vision and the values in the marketplace. So I would always say first differentiate themselves. Okay. Second aspect that you need to do is, as I always mention, it is essential for everybody to actually build their own personal brand equity. There is no way that you will be able to grow to the level that you want to reach. Everybody aspire to be a CEO of company someday. Okay. And I don't deny that. But not everybody reaches there. There's a reason, because the 1% reaches there, or a 0.01% reaches there. Why only 0.01%? They're doing something differently. What you're doing, that is a question. Okay. Second aspect is the influence building aspect, that is creating your personal brand equity. How do you actually build a network strategically, and how do you build your own brand strategically? That is what is going to make you different in the world as well, because it is just not about the skills, experience, and knowledge as a differentiating factor. It is also the influence which is getting added into the mix. Okay.
Yeah.
The last element I always ask is, you will never be differentiated by the your skills and experience. It is about how you show that skills and experience. That will be the differentiating factor. So let's say a 15 years of experience project manager in company A, company B, company C, all are sitting in front of me. If I have to hire somebody, I would not be hiring the person with the most experience, knowledge, skill, and talent. I'll be hiring a person who will be able to showcase that experience, knowledge, and skill. Correct? Now, that for that reason, you need to have a skill to show, and your skills cannot be just a techno-functional skill. Everybody who wants to be or aspiring to be reaching to the executive level, they need to have the power skill which is running. Because until and unless you do not build a power skill, you are always going to remain as the weakest power in the hierarchy. That is a skill aspect of it. And skill along with the visibility, right? Because you have to show it. Because there are three types of things that you need to be. You know the things, you do the things, and you show the things. People are really, really good in the mid-level professional, or for that matter in the corporate, in knowing and doing the things. What people are not good at is the showing the things. That is where you need to master.
And it's all about practicing, which you said.
There is no way you can actually do a magic win where you can just say gilly gilly chew and you
Yeah.
can actually become influencer.
So rightly mentioned, and it's all about getting entered into that zone, I would say.
100%. It comes from the clarity. It comes from the setting the vision. Of course, that's a basic element that we actually take people through in our process, of course, and then building the uh, blocks one after another. That is where the people will be able to realize their own value. That will boil down to our first question that we talk about. How do we actually create the 3x market value? This is how you create the 3x market value, block after block.
It's all about connecting your dots, connecting
Absolutely.
your story. Everything will lead by yourself. It's all
Yes.
about seeking for that help as well.
Seeking help is required. See, unfortunately, the realization of seeking help comes very late in the career.
Yeah,
And the part of the reason is, I told you, as the comfort zone sets in, you always tend to get into the zone where the things are moving in the autopilot mode. Why to
yeah,
actually bother? If you're getting a 10% increment, you're living in the same city with your family members, with your own house, which you are paying on the loan, why would I bother to change anything?
correct.
That's a normal tendency of the humans, right? Now, you only learn either by the pain or a pleasure. Now, currently, the comfort is keeping you into the pleasure. When
Yeah.
the pain comes, then you learn. Then you start taking the action. My message to the people who call themselves intelligent: why do you want to wait for the pain to come and become proactive?
With all the empathy, with all the kindness,
If you are
like
so intelligent, why you can't take the proactive step about your career? Why do you
correct,
want somebody to tell you?
correct.
Okay. Now, that's where I call the intelligent ignorance. That's a word I have coined for people, right? Most of the mid-level professionals fall into that. Nothing to disrespect them. Please
Yeah,
mind it. All the words that I'm speaking right now, nothing to demean you or disrespect your
correct.
experience. I come from the intention that I mean that you have what it takes to deserve more. But
Yeah,
it will only come when you start working and believing that you deserve more. You start rising, not anybody else. And that is only possible when you start taking some actions. Seeking help is the first part of it because you alone cannot actually find those blind spots.
yeah,
If we were so smart and clever, why would have gone to the mentor and coaches to seek the knowledge? Why would have gone to the, let's say, even website for YouTube and Google? Why this everything, the genius gyan has not come to us automatically if we were so smart and clever? It doesn't, right? So we all need a help, regardless of whether you are so genius or you are not so genius. So let's not probably take a mask and probably say that, yes, I need a help. I need the help in this direction. Please help me.
yeah,
Period. Now, for that, you need to sacrifice, sacrifice.
yeah. And there's nothing to be sacrificed except your time and efforts.
Of course, but people are, see, I always teach that, but people have a very delayed understanding on this. Either you, there are only three limited resources that you have. finite resources that you carry. First is your time, which is always limited.
Yeah.
You have 24 hours, that is fixed. You have a certain lifespan, that is fixed. Second is your money. Okay. There is a certain amount of bank balance that you carry. And the third is your knowledge. You only have what you know, which is limited. You cannot have the Sarvagyani and the Sarva Sampanna kind of a thing. Correct? You will always have a limitation of the knowledge. So the question is, what do I want more right now? If I want more money, I have to pay the time and the knowledge. If I increase my knowledge, I increase my time. I put in the time, I increase money. So either you trade the time, that means you say that, okay, Rakesh, what will I do is 12 hours of one job, 5 hours another job, 7 hours I'll sleep, and again go into the gun chucky. Okay, that is one aspect. Or you increase your knowledge. You say that, Rakesh, see, currently I'm solving problem A. Now, if I solve the problem B, I will be paid more.
Yeah.
Now, in order to increase your knowledge, you need to have a time and money. Now you say, okay, Rakesh, why are you talking about money for the knowledge? Knowledge is free. Yes, knowledge is free. But which knowledge is free? Unstructured knowledge is free.
Yeah.
Structured knowledge is never free. And anybody, everything which is free is not quality. Okay.
Correct.
You need to realize that if you need more knowledge, you need to pay your time and the money. That means you invest in that knowledge. You invest your time into knowledge, you invest your money into knowledge, you increase your knowledge. By increasing your knowledge, you increase your money. People forget this basic universal laws which are already given to you by our ancient saints and all the successful people. But
Yeah.
we keep going back to the reinventing the things for ourselves.
It's all about knowledge is unstructured, I would say, and unapplied too, which is free.
100% see, anything which is received free is never valued.
Yeah. So it's all about the applied experiences which you're getting. Now, thank you, Rakesh ji, for sharing not only your strategies, but also your heartfelt experiences which you have faced in your life. And your insights have given our audience actionable steps and the inspiration to power through their own career ceilings. Now, this leads to me to the last section of the podcast, that where can our listeners find you, learn more about the Risers Club, and potentially book a session to fast track their journey to executive leadership.
Thank you very much, Avinash ji. First and foremost, asking some intelligent questions, which has prompted me to probably come up with a lot of answers that I've give. Yes, at times I have given my heart out, but I wanted to make sure that this podcast reaches to the right people and their heart touches their heart as well. That's number one thing, because see, listening any podcast will not make any difference, honestly speaking, unless it touches your heart. Okay?
Yeah,
So if it doesn't touch your heart, then it is just an information again. So
correct.
don't listen to the information, it will not help you, right? Second aspect of it, everyone can reach to me. I'm all available in all the social media channels right now. Okay, you can just connect to rakesh.cc/connect and you will be getting on the list of my social media handles where I'm available. I share a lot of insights on LinkedIn every day, yeah, YouTube every week, and obviously Instagram every day as well. So you'll be learning from all over the places that you want to learn from me. And in all of the platform, there is always a link to join me in my free session where I actually help you understand the structure way of understanding how you can grow your career step by step in a proven framework that has helped almost 45,000 leaders across the world today. So you could be one of that beneficiary if you want to probably take complete charge of your career and rise.
And I'll share all the details as well in the description below for all the people who wants to rise in their lives, because Risers Club is not about Rakesh ji. It's
True.
about the people who are rising that club. And
Yes.
club is, you all know, there would be multiple people. It's a community based model. So do reach out to Rakesh ji, and he's such a beautiful soul. I loved the conversation, to have that conversation with you, Rakesh ji. Thanks again for to you, and my gratitude that I got this opportunity to record this podcast with you, because see, it's all about creating, and we are creating that, and I'm sure this podcast would run 30 years, after 30 years as well, right? It's gonna be the same.
That is the legacy you're creating right now.
Yeah. And this is how we take actions, and this is what we want to communicate as a message as well. So to our listeners, remember, your journey is unique. Embrace the challenges, trust the process, and rise to new heights in your career. Until next time, keep growing and keep believing in your potential. Trust your journey, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.